Good morning. It's the UAE weekend, and I thought I'll do a weekend vlog. So I'll talk about my opinion about how it feels currently in Dubai, how I think the economy is doing, and yeah, just a regular feel-good factor currently in Dubai. Because it's still the summer here in Dubai and it's still very hot, and it's the weekend and we need to keep our kids entertained, we decided to treat ourselves a little bit and spend the weekend in a nice hotel, or at least one night. So the rest of the vlog will be shot from there. Coming. Wow!
Wow! Wow!
Wow! This is a view. Jesus. Let me start off by talking about the financial markets. In theory, the financial market should be a reflection of the underlying economies. And recently, I don't necessarily feel that that's the case. If you look at the American stock markets, the Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq, they are all close to or hitting their all-time highs. Yet the underlying economy does not seem to be doing that great. The government is taking on huge debts, and unemployment is extremely high. A couple of weeks ago, it reached some all-time highs. So there seems to be a disconnect. Nevertheless, in theory, the financial market should be a reflection of the underlying economy. So let's have a look at the Dubai financial market indice. I wanted to look at a very long-term chart. What I was able to find was 2-3 charts that sort of add up to a very long-term one. So from 2004 to 2005, 2006, the Dubai financial market index rallied like crazy. And that was when I actually just around about that time I moved also to Dubai. So I experienced all that hype here. And back then everyone was thinking Dubai is the city worldwide to live. In Europe, everyone was talking about Dubai. Everyone that graduated wanted to move to Dubai. And then you had the first bubble bursted in the real estate sector, and then you had the financial crisis. So you had a sharp downturn until 2008, 2009. That felt really, really bad back then. Then you had real estate started recovering in 2012, 13, 14. In my view, so I've researched, and sometimes it's said that they recovered to all levels. In my view, that's not true. In my view, they never really recovered to the old historic highs. Since then, it has been sort of gradually going down until the beginning of 2020, when then there was a sharp downturn because of the coronavirus. This, for me, this index is a relatively good reflection of the mood in Dubai. So in the mood in Dubai in 2005, 6, 7, and 8 was like crazy. There was an extreme hype. And since then, it has never been that crazy anymore. The downturn now is really bad, but it does not feel quite as dramatic as in 2005 to 2009 or whatever, this downturn that happened back then from the highs. If we look at the debt markets, Dubai itself is not being rated, at least to my knowledge, from the big rating agencies, but there are a number of government-owned entities like DP World and DEWA that are being rated, for example, by Moody's. And if I look at those ratings that are debt rated, so there is, for example, DEWA, and DEWA was recently downgraded to BBB2 with a negative outlook. That is the second lowest rating that Moody's has. And DP World was downgraded to BBB3, which is the lowest investment grade that Moody's has for debt. And in these articles, Moody's predominantly talks about that this is linked to the situation of Dubai. This is not necessarily a reflection of these two companies. It's a reflection of how Dubai is doing, because they are government owned and the government can decide how much the dividend should be. And in the past also there have been drastic changes in dividends that these companies had to pay to the governments, and partially also how much debt they need to issue. Interestingly enough, there's also an article, First Abu Dhabi Bank newsletter, FAB, that by the end of the year, DEWA aims to be repaying all its debt. So they aim to be debt-free, which is exactly to that point. So on the one hand, they seem to have a very strong balance sheet with low debt, but at the same time, they're being downgraded by Moody's, because Moody's is not just looking at how DEWA is doing, but how DEWA's and DP World's shareholder is doing, and that's basically the Dubai government and Dubai as an economy. So in that sense, both the stock market and the debt market are saying that Dubai is not doing well. What I additionally find interesting is, if you look at the stock market, it is considerably below its highs of 2004-05, the likes. And this, at least, and it is a little bit already a reflection on my personal view. This reflects a little bit how I felt in 2004-05, 2008 as well. The exuberance back then was greater. Back then, everyone, and that was really globally, everyone back then thought that Dubai is amongst the top cities that you had to live. And by top cities, I mean within the top 5 or 3. Everyone was saying New York, Dubai, Shanghai. Those were examples of cities that were the future of the world. The exuberance prior to the pandemic here in Dubai was not as high. So now, if we look at what we see in articles about the underlying situation, there's an article by the Washington Post: rivals Dubai and Abu Dhabi tackle coronavirus in very different ways. Abu Dhabi, with huge oil reserves and hydrocarbon industry, has been relatively insulated from the global crisis, while Dubai, which depends on international travel, trade, real estate, and especially tourism, has been devastated by a disease that makes people stay at home. Tourism contributes 11.5% to the economy of Dubai, apparently. So obviously this has a big impact. and creates us also a huge sense of urgency. While Abu Dhabi's economy is not impacted by the tourism fallout, Dubai is. They have massive amounts of hotels, consumption, the malls, etc., that depend on tourism. I'll just close here the door, yeah, a little bit. So the little one woke up. Sorry, what? Yeah. The little one woke up, watches a little bit of TV. So a couple of the other articles, so there's the one from CNBC that's talking about a survey according to which 70% of Dubai's company expect to go out of business within 6 months due to corona pandemic. Obviously this affects extremely hard restaurants, nurseries, schools have been affected. I don't know whether this survey is representative of all the organizations in Dubai. I suspect not, but obviously that's a very high number. Probably the article that I read that for me personally summarizes the situation in the UAE or in Dubai best is from the Financial Times from early May. Dubai contemplates a downsized future after the pandemic. So a couple of the points here are that Dubai was expecting an extremely bright future. In October 2020, they were supposed to host Expo 2020 and expecting 25 million visitors, and this should sort of supercharge Dubai and the UAE's development. But obviously then COVID and the pandemic happened, and this has brought the whole model of Dubai to standstill and made it being questioned. Economic consequences of the corona pandemic coupled with the spectacular collapse of the crude oil price have caused havoc in the oil-rich Gulf as lockdowns and strangled business and financial ministry cut state spending. Yes? Yes? Yes, I know. Give me a few more minutes, then we'll go downstairs, okay? The UAE, obviously, or especially Dubai, depends on trade, transportation, tourism, retail, and real estate. Expo 2020, which was scheduled to open in October, has been pushed back 12 months, joining a long list of global events that have fallen victim to the pandemic. So the global crisis have raised concerns about Dubai's high debt burden, which the IMF found last year exceeds 100% of Dubai's gross domestic product, including government-related entities, and revived painful memories of basically the 2009 and 2008-2009 crisis, when basically Dubai was at the brink of default, according to this article. I remember also back then the combined debt of government-related entities and the Dubai government debt was also considered to be above 100%. The article sort of illustrates where the debt lies within the government-related entities, and this large percentage of it is within aviation, real estate, shipping. Those are the largest, and then they're followed by utilities, industrial, leisure, financial services. And obviously these are also sectors that are heavily exposed to the coronavirus impact. What we're seeing also similar to 2008 and 2009, large exodus of people Currently, what I've read, numbers are in the 10% of total population that are considering leaving the UAE, and that must be very similar, if not even higher, in Dubai.
Okay, now it's time to have some fun. That's pretty cool. Special entrance for us, huh? Look, come here!
Interesting quote in the context of looking at the economic situation in Dubai is also, I believe it's a quote from Winston Churchill, never waste a good crisis. And I think this is relevant because it allows you to reassess your personal situation, but also the company. So, and we're doing that for sure. We are looking at our spending, our operating costs, our capex, our services, etc. So even though it is a crisis, you can try to make the best out of it. So I've spoken about the capital markets, the financial markets. I've spoken about or cited some articles from CNBC, Washington Post, Financial Times, etc. And if I would need to reflect on the situation at Enerwhere, which is a renewable energy company, I think we are lucky in the sense that we were deemed an essential industry, so we were able to continue operations. So in that sense, things are going well. What I am worried, and I've spoken to colleagues from the industry, and the opinion there is mixed between, there's an impact, but not so significant, to yes, there's a significant impact. My personal opinion is that the situation is going to delay the business development cycle, with customers just delaying the decision of renewables or solar rooftop, etc. And there's a risk of customers late payment or even defaulting on their payments, which has a massive negative impact. Yeah, I guess this is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press the like and subscribe button. Bye. See you next week.